Greg Wallace of Moxley Tabernacle, lead us in a word of prayer.
Father, we come to you this evening, Lord. We're thankful, Father, for the opportunity, Lord, to stand and to bow our heads, Lord, and thank you, Lord, for this great city, Lord, that we live in. Father, we thank you, Lord, for the men who carry the weapon, Lord, that protect us, Lord, for those, Lord, that pick up the trash, Lord, for those that fight the fires, for every person, Lord, on this board this morning, or this evening, Father, we thank you for each citizen, Lord, that's made their way out this evening. And Father, we pray that the agenda that is discussed this evening, Father, will be in order, Lord, that things will be carried out in an orderly manner. Father, we know, Lord, we don't live in a perfect world, Lord. We know that there are things that each of us, Lord, have to face that we don't necessarily want to sometimes. But Lord, we know that your grace is sufficient. So, Father, we thank you, Lord, that you give us the grace that we need, Father. We pray, Lord, for this business, Lord, at hand. Pray, Lord, for each individual in the room, Father. Pray, Lord, that when this life is over, Father, that each one, Lord, at the sound of my voice, Lord, would have come to know you in the pardon and forgiveness of sin. Have your way with this meeting, Lord, we pray. In Jesus' precious holy name we pray. Amen.
Jenny, you lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You guys have a roll call, please.
Steve Arnott.
Here.
Mike Scipio. Here. Doug Fletchman.
Here.
Greg Hudson.
Here.
Greg Wolf.
Here.
Bonnie Thompson.
Present.
Jim Hughes.
Here.
Linda Balgus.
I'm here.
The quorum being present, I declare the September 3rd, 2019 meeting of the Dunbar City Council in order. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of August 19th, 2019.
Second. There's been a motion by Councilman Fleischman to approve the minutes of the August 19th, 2019 meeting as circulated. Seconded by Councilman Hudson. Any questions, comments, clarifications? Being none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Abstentions, none. Motion carries. We've been looking for a representative from West Indian American Water Company. I guess he's not here, so we will table that till the next meeting. Next item on the agenda is invoices for payment.
Mr. Chairman, our invoices for this period is $77,946.78. I so move to pay these invoices.
Second. There's been a motion by Councilman Hudson to approve the payment of invoices totaling $77,946.78. Seconded by Councilman Scipio. Any questions, comments? Being none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Abstentions, none. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a resolution approving application for DEP REAP grant.
This resolution, whereas the city of Dunbar recognizes the existence of a littering problem within the boundaries of the city of Dunbar, and whereas the West Virginia Littering Control Program of 1985 provides matching grants of the Littering Control Funds through the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection for the purpose of establishing local littering control programs. And whereas having reviewed and considered West Virginia Administration Regulations, Department of Environmental Protection, Title 33, Series 41, it is resolved that the Dunbar City Council hereby endorses and supports such a program for the city of Dunbar as indicated the attached application, and hereby authorizes new Leishman building inspector to plan, budget, and apply for the grant that, if approved, will be used to fund safe programs being in accordance with regulation, government use, and expenditures of these funds.
This grant, this will be the third year that we've applied for it, and the funds that we use are for the demolition of condemned housing, and the requirement is that we match the $5,000 demolition with this demolition. So that is, while it reads as a litter grant, it's actually a house demolition grant that we're applying.
Mayor, I move that we approve the application for the DEP REAP grant.
Second.
There's been a motion by Councilman Arnott to approve the resolution to apply for the DEP REAP grant, seconded by Councilman Wolf. Any further clarifications or comments? Being none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, none. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is first reading of ordinance 783.
This ordinance is an ordinance to adopt and approve the current replacement pages to the codified ordinance. And what this is all the ordinance that have gotten passed in the last year, we take them, we send them off to a company who qualifies them, condenses them, and puts them in the ordinance book. So we just recently got last year's ordinance qualified.
Make a motion to approve this ordinance, 783.
Second.
Very good.
There's been a motion by Councilman Scipio to approve the first reading of ordinance 783, to approve and adopt the current replacement pages to the codified ordinances of the city of Dunbar, seconded by Councilman Hudson. Any further clarification or comment? Being none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? No. Abstentions, none. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is first reading of ordinance 784.
All right, this is the first reading of ordinance to amend section 547.01, be an ordinance of the city council of the city of Dunbar, West Virginia, that part 5, subpart 547, costs, fees, fines, subparagraph 547.01 of the codified ordinance of the city of Dunbar, West Virginia, as amended. And what this is, 547 is the rates. This is the court costs. Court cost has been $80, and the state code has raised it $10, so now court costs will be $90. This is a fee that the city does not keep. This fee goes to the state. So therefore, we need to change our ordinance to meet the state code, because we have to pay the state code $90. So that's what this ordinance is.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 784, section 547.01.
Second.
There's been a motion by Councilman Scipio to approve the first reading of ordinance 784, revising section 547.01 of the codified ordinances of the city of Dunbar to increase court costs from $80 to $90 to comply with revised state code, seconded by Councilman Fleshman. Any further comment or clarification? Being none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? No. Abstentions? None. Motion carries. Next item under new business is presentation and approval of the annual report.
Mr. Sure, if I can speak to that just a moment. What this is every year, council knows this, for citizens, every year the state gives us a summary of our pension fund for the firemen and policemen. This is for those that were in the local pension for police. The pension fund was closed in 2012, and all hires since 2012 are on the state pension for fire and police. And the fire department it is being closed now, so new hires will go on the new one. But this is our report for the old localized fund. And it shows, we went over this in finance, but it's just a report showing the fireman's pension has grown slightly from 800,000 in their assets to just over $1 million. And there's a list in there showing how much was paid out. They paid out 616,000 in benefits to the retirees, the police. And again, this is just an information the state provides us. It's not a thing that we can adjust or change. Fireman's pension started out at 6 million. It's up to 6.3 now. Excuse me, police. Thank you. Police was 6. It's up to 6.3. And so it is very solvent. The fireman's has been much more shaky. But if you've been to council for the last 2 years, Mayor, we've been working on this to get it rectified. So we're making progress in all areas. But that's just for your information. It's presented to us by the state as an annual report. If you have any questions about it or anything, you can talk to the mayor, myself, or the fire chief, or Scott will represent the police side on their pension as well. Any questions about it after the meeting?
I'll make a motion. We approve the presentation.
I'll say.
There's been a motion by Councilman Scipio to approve the annual report to be filed with the Municipal Pension Oversight Board by the Firemen and Policemen's Pension Funds for the police and fire pensions. Seconded by Councilman Arnott. Questions, comments, concerns? Being none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Abstentions? None. Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is removal of trees at the Dunbar Plaza.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve the contract with the American Tree Experts to remove 2 trees at 12 Street Plaza, not to exceed $3,400.
Second.
There's been a motion by Councilman Scipio to approve American Tree Experts to remove the large pin oak tree and maple tree at 12th Street Plaza at cost not to exceed $3,400. Seconded by Councilman Fleshman. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Just to add to it, the area businesses have been complaining that the leaves from the trees are causing problems with clogging out their roof drains on their businesses. It's causing damage to their buildings. Plus, the large pin oak tree is causing the sidewalks to move and creating problems there. So we can't work on the sidewalks until we get the tree taken out here. So we can get those things out.
Also, we feel as a council that it might alleviate part of the problem of people congregating over there on that plaza day and night. We hope that it alleviates part of that. And also it will create more room for our fall festival we have every year. Because right now, we're crammed in there, and I think alleviating these 2 trees will help that also.
I'll try on that. Any further comments? Being none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Abstentions? None. Motion carries. The next item is been tabled. It was quite lengthy discussion about upgrading the marquee at 10th Street, and we got hung up in the discussion about pixels and LEDs and sight distances and lumens and I don't know what all other technical term we can come up with. Hopefully, we'll have that sorted out by the next meeting, so we can get that sign upgraded to where we can get the messages out clearer to the public. With that, we'll go to staff reports. Chief Walls.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens, guests. I'm just going to present some numbers tonight. For August 2018, calls for service was 1,200. Last month, the calls for service was 1,112. But again, that's for a two-man shift, so 30 calls a day. 2019 arrests in August, we had 48 physical arrests, 18 were for cases. That means they've already been charged, felt to come forth. 17 of those 18 were for houseless people. You know, that's a very time-consuming process that we go through. I think the council may be forgiven and the public forgives us. We saw crashes we have to respond to, domestics. We had 9 domestic arrests, 3 violation DPP arrests last month, 2 were for felony strangulation. Those are very time-consuming investigations. Special events program, hiring and training new officers, mass shooting planning for churches. Whether we came to your church and discussed it with you, probably didn't, but we still internally prepared to come to your church or your school or your business. You probably didn't even know we was planning on it, but we have routes in, things we're going to do. Last Saturday, we had a DUI checkpoint along with the Sheriff's Department and Charleston PD. Right over 1,600 cars coming down Dunbar Avenue near Shannon Stone. Between 6:30 and 11, I presented you all paper with the breakdown of it, but Dunbar, we wrote about 50 citations, had 1 DUI arrest, several bills of right. That's kind of a snapshot of Saturday and August 21st. You want to ask any questions? Thank you now.
Yeah, I'd like to comment. I think it was Friday night, got a call from a neighbor at our new church on Rossman Road that there's kids throwing rocks at the windows, or new windows and the doors. And they tried to stop them, but they wouldn't. So I was in South Charleston. I called 911. Told them what was going on. We went over, and the police had already got the kids rounded up, and they did some damage, some minor damage, but that's for their parents and grandparents.
They're still liable $2,500.
Yeah, but I just want to thank the police. They're very prompt, very thorough with what they did.
I have a question. Sure. I live up on Grandview Drive, back to the cemetery, and I'm out back a lot. There's headlights up there all the time. I call, do your officers take breaks up there? I heard they may.
When I was working on the road, that was one place that I traveled through.
Okay.
I won't say take a break.
Now, should I call each time I see them, or should I call each time they stay longer than 5 minutes? Should I call when there's 3 sets of headlights? Because the 2 times I've called.
If you see something you feel like comfortable with it, just make it fun.
But I know we're not, nobody's supposed to be up there at night, right?
It's posted, it's private property, and we've had thefts up there before. We have a lot of thefts up there, unfortunately, around Mother's Day and stuff. People bring their flowers, people go from steal, not just our cemeteries, but all of them, taking the flea markets. You just got to remember.
So
one
these
summer
people
we
are at
did-
the mausoleum, though, sitting there at the mausoleum.
I would call.
911?
911. Go prioritize calling, get it fast, and then prioritize what's going on. All right, thank you.
To revert back, the clerk reminded me to a point of order. I need a motion to table item C on the agenda.
I'll make a motion, we table the marquee sign for 10th Street until the next council meeting.
Okay, for redo, there's been a motion by Councilman Fleshman to table item C on the agenda. Approval to purchase a new electronic marquee for 10th Street at cost not to exceed $17,000 to be added to the agenda, the next council meeting agenda. Seconded by Councilman Scipio. Any further questions, comments, or concerns? Being none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye. All those opposed, no. Abstentions. None, motion carries. All right, we're back on. Fire chief, Chief Thornton.
Good evening, everyone. The fire department in August responded to 110 incidents within the city, bringing our total to 684. One of those was kind of special to us. We're going to be doing a media story on it tomorrow morning. It's a very young infant baby. We fortunately enough to take part in saving that life. It's a good day for us, and a good day for them. We're working with the family. I don't want to release any names until we talk. That will hit the media tomorrow. All of last week, as you all know, I've been talking about ISO. Never missed a thing to say. We're through that now. The good news is from what I can tell, we certainly are not going backwards. We needed 4 points to get to the next classification, and I'm optimistic that we're going to get there. Can't promise you, but I'm very optimistic. We had some very big gains in the department in areas that we gained. So 4 points don't sound like a lot, but it takes a lot on our end to gain those 4 points. I'm optimistic. Unfortunately, I think they told me it would be 3 to 6 months before we found out. So it's a lot of waiting. But the hosing gear that you guys authorized has been ordered. It's on the way. It comes, I'll bring it to you. And that's all I have right here. I'll take anyone's questions.
Chris, I understand that you got some recognition, environmental recognition from Washington.
We did. I don't have that with me. But back in April, on our autism awareness t-shirt program, where we sell those t-shirts and 100% of those proceeds went right back into the schools right here in the city, right back into the autism program. The fire department did get a presidential letter of recognition for that program. I do not have it with me, but it's available on our Facebook page if you want to be able to read about it. It's very exciting and exciting for the city.
It was in the newspaper.
That's an exciting thing for Dunbar. Being recognized, we now have we've sold shirts in all 50 states and in Washington, D.C. So it's a big program that we're hoping to continue to grow this year. And again, all that money goes right back into the city, right back into our schools, right back into the autism programs going on right here. So and the fire department keeps none of those proceeds.
Chief, you were to share, and again, you'll say there'll be more information later about the infant, but as I've thought over the last several days after that, hopefully it helps all of us realize and appreciate our fire and police, because even though, yes, it does cost considerable funds, any city that has police force and paid firemen, that means about 60% of your city dollars goes to those two offices. However, the flip side of it is when you live here and go to bed at night, you realize that under normal circumstances, once you make the call, they're there within 3 minutes. And if you're in an area that has chosen not to have paid fire, or it's a county zone where your deputies may be always off, you have 15 to 30 minutes for response time. That's just the blunt reality of it. So I think what you're saying will come to the media as a reminder to all of us, even though it cost us, we're very, very fortunate. My family's benefited even. When I was out in the country one time, my wife called within a couple minutes over there to take care of things. But all of us, when we hear these stories, it's wonderful that child is safe. That's first priority. But also reminds us how fortunate all of us are, because we're all only approximately 3 minutes or less from response time whenever it's our emergency. So thank you all.
Hey, Public Works Director, Mr. Elliott.
Mayor, council citizens, just wanted to tell you some of the things going on. In the month of August, we picked up about 275 tons of garbage. We also, I think, have got all the blacktop holes, the potholes filled, and we're now working hard on, well, today was all trash. We're working hard on getting all the limbs picked up that we didn't get during the month of July, August, when we were milling the holes out and getting them ready. Anybody has any questions, I'll take them now.
I do have something.
Walnut Street off of Roxland, I understand that that's not city road, but are you able to contact the state, because they come up and had trucks and had the road blocked, but all they did was put gravel in? And
Okay, I can go ahead and answer that. The last city council meeting, the city council approved paving that section of street that's been damaged. So that Virginia paving will be coming in and doing that.
the water, they might want to reroute the water, because I think that's what's damaged it. So when it rains hard, it just gushes down that road. So you may want to look into that too, or it's just gonna.
Well, we're just looking right now at getting the street resurfaced and getting it back passable to a reasonable extent. And
I just, where I live up there, I notice it, and you can tell that it's from water. That's the only thing I'm saying. So you don't waste your money.
Well, actually, most of the damage came from water company water line broke. That's what the damage is. That's all.
Thanks.
The director proposals before you, I had him come up to Hillview Drive and Valley Drive. John Falks, I know, has been trying to get that drain work, but he works on it constantly. So from the cemetery, their drop inlet is in the wrong spot, or we wouldn't have this water problem that we have. But this winter, last winter, didn't have much ice, the winter before. Winter before, at the bottom, and I know they have fixed the drain and they paved that area, but it's the drain itself that's right down the street, right there. If there's any way we can get a pipe in there rather than the water flowing all the way.
Which side of the road?
Hill, going up the
Falk side or the
cemetery,
other side?
the hillside.
Falk, Mr. Falk side?
Yes, Falk side.
Okay, and you're talking about putting a drain in or a pipe in there?
Yes, yes, we have a pipe, have some type of a pipe all the way down to that drop inlet that we fixed, that the city fixed, right down there at the bottom. Because if not, and it's supposed to be predicted a very hard winter, that area right there is just nothing but sheet ice. Every time.
Well, Mr. Elliott's working with Mr. Falks to get that drain replaced.
Because
So
I own the building right next to
once
it.
the two of them can come to a meeting of the minds, that will be taken care of.
And my company, my rental company will help because I own that building right beside Mr. Falks. And right now, it's damaged my drain right there so bad that my tenants can't even pull in. So we have to do something for that part of it. But I'd like to work with the city, try to get something done right there before we.
Maybe you know Mr. Falks.
Okay, I know him well. He wired our house.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to thank your gentlemen for going the extra mile and fixing the berm at the end of 18th Street, 200 block. They built a little curve out of blacktop so that the neighbors at the end of our street wouldn't have their basement flooded. They did an excellent job. It's working beautifully. We thank them for that.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Scott. I've driven Dutch Hall where all those puddles stand on the road by the apartments.
Yeah.
Me and Mac met out there one day and talked to that guy at the apartment complex. And there's a crushed pipe going through that complex that needs fixed. What we need to do is talk to these people and get something done.
Every time when I was a police officer, I always got a back in there because of the water. And I went over to them and I asked them if I was denied, or if the city was denied access to go through there to fix that.
So I need to say
Back
something to
then.
my boss about it and see what we
Right.
can do. Okay.
Have a question. Over from Mississippi to Dunbar, when you come off the interstate, I know that it belongs to the state, but is there any way we can trim those bushes down when you're coming down the thing that you can actually see?
Are you talking about on the coming from?
Institute, you're coming in,
Through the curb?
yeah, right here, the curb, those bushes.
Let me
They
help
need to
you
be
start.
cut way, way, way down. You cannot even see a car coming or anything.
Maryland.
Can you answer that for us, Mayor?
Bub was given that assignment this morning to get all that stuff cleaned out of there.
Get on, I thought you said it's about 45 for that.
Oh, you're talking about the, traffic triangle?
Yeah.
Eastbound.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I thought you were back at the rec center.
And I talked about this one day, Mayor, that with eastbound off-ramp, getting all that cleaned out.
That's going to be a one heck of a job.
Yes.
It's cold.
I know.
I'm not talking about cutting them off, but I'm just talking about trimming it back to where you can see.
In the triangle, yes.
Are you talking about the second triangle?
Yeah, the traffic pressure, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All that needs to be cut down to no more than 42.
Exactly right. I mean, right now it's 6 foot. It just makes it real tough, and a lot of people see it, hurt their necks. So if we can get that done, it'd be really, we can have done.
Yeah, we're trying to do that. I think there's a better trimming than-
So it's professional.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Anything else for Mr. Elliott?
42.
Sanitary Board, Mr. Dawson.
Mayor, council, citizens, currently, we don't have a whole lot of projects going on. We are going to start paving the holes that we've created in the asphalt. Other than that, we're just doing some general maintenance around town. Any questions at this time?
I have one, please.
Yes.
Will, by any chance, you get around to cleaning out the drop inlets in residential areas with the Victor truck before the winter?
Yes.
Okay. That's all.
And,
Yes, sir.
information for you, we have, completed our concrete pour in this new church, so
Okay.
I know you were waiting
Yes.
for us.
We'll be up there shortly. Thank you.
To remind everybody, the sanitary board is currently 4 or 5 employees short. We are hiring, so if you know somebody who has a high school diploma, can pass a background check and a drug test, and pass it, or actually fail a drug, you don't want to fail it, you got to be negative on drugs.
And can survive without a cell phone.
And they have to be capable of getting certified within a year. They'll have to go to class and become certified. So, if you know of anybody that's interested in a position like that, get a hold of Matt or Mr. Burnside and get your application in, because we're hiring one probably within the next 30 days if we find somebody, and then we'll follow up shortly thereafter to try to get the staff back up to where it needs to be to deal with a lot of the issues we're
Full
having.
time,
Yes.
Yes.
Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday, 7 to 3.
Well, except for the ones that did stuff on weekend shift, and they have sometimes get.
There is a rotation.
What's the hour?
What are the hours?
What are the hours?
Depends on the qualifications, really.
What would you start at?
Probably about
Minimum,
10 or 11.
the minimum for the city is $10 an hour, so depending on if you're pre-qualified, if you have a class 1 or a class 2, or a CDL license or something like that, your hourly rate goes up a bit. If you have electrical skills or proven mechanical skills through training and so forth.
Marijuana on that drug test?
Yeah.
Wasn't for me, wasn't for me. I was thinking outside the box here.
Well, everybody sitting at that table, including me and her and everybody that's an employee here in the city, has been drug tested.
With the qualification, you get pay raise.
Okay. Next is Mr. Jones.
Thanks, Mayor.
I'm sorry. Don't forget, Fall Festival's coming up here in a few weeks, 20th and 21st. Kickoff will be around 5 or 6. We'll have the vendors going through the day, setting up, and the official will kick off that evening. Don't forget that Friday night, we'll be having wrestling out here in front of the city hall. No. You don't want to get embarrassed. Also, the third oldest race in the state, the One Star Classic, is Saturday morning. I am looking for some people that like to work some of the turns off the street. That's the proper way to say it. But we're doing a 5K and a 10K this year. So they're kind of combined, but there is some turnoff from each one. Then also the citywide yard sale coming up October Yeah. Call down to the rec center if you want to get on, give a name, address, phone number in case we got to call you back. Brief description of what you're selling. We will advertise it in the newspaper. We'll also put it on, I'll put it on spreadsheet. It's nice, East Street, my Avenue. Have 3 spots. We'll put them up, City Hall, 16th Street, and Rec Center. So if you want to just call the office, we'll get you on the list. We'll probably stop taking them probably the Wednesday before, so I can get everything printed up. We also put a map on the back, so anybody comes in from out of town, they can find the streets. And then, Boo Bash.
So wait a minute, go back to citywide yards, say, what else is going on? Senior center is doing.
Oh, yes, well, we are. Also, senior center downstairs, when we rent out tables or spots over along Dunbar Avenue. You can get with Kim Bailey on that if you would like to set up. And also at the rec center, we're gonna have some spots there on the outside that we're selling spots for. We'll be able to bring tables out for you. Just call down there if you want to set up there. Like I said, you can do it at your home. We'll put your address where you're at, brief description, and try to promote it. We'll promote it in the paper, newspaper, and all. Then Boo Bash is the 26th. Always a great turnout. We have discussed parking, how bad the parking gets in the past few years. This year, Mayor just brought up about, like we did at the Kids' Day to the park, we run a shuttle bus back and forth to the restaurant. It's going to do kind of like Critter Dinner, where we had most of the people parked down at Shawnee Park, and we would bus them up. So it's a safety issue right there on Route 25, especially coming east on 25 with no sidewalk.
October 25th, Chief.
October, we're doing a camp out for kids. We recognize there's quite a few middle school kids that have never been camping. Shock?
Yes, absolutely.
So the police department and some other civic groups are going to get together and do a camp out for the middle school kids at the city park. One at the middle school age, but we won't defer from that. It's got to be middle school age kids. Pick up their application. They're not out yet. They get them to fourth grader, middle school, or police department. We're going to limit us to 50.
What activities are you gonna have up there for them?
Right now, we have Stop the Bleed class, will be the first thing that they do. It's through FEMA, it's a federal program. We'll set up a movie for them, hopefully have a fire set up for them, some storytelling.
You wanna show them bamboo, just walk on over the hill and down past Grandview and get out, that bamboo forest.
We are looking for female chef friends.
Yes, we are. Crystal, you do good.
Would you like to interact with 50 middle school students?
I might, but I take care of my mother, so.
You don't stay on.
You can check on her. You can see
I do have a
the
mule.
house.
I do have a mule, and I got a path over there. Dad always made sure we had a path to the city park.
If you have a few hours to talk to, appreciate you having coming. Let me know.
Right, what day?
October 25th, it's Friday.
I didn't bring my kids.
See how helpful everybody is? It's a first time experience for the city and the first time experience hopefully for a lot of the kids in the community.
one night?
So there's a
One
lot
night.
of effort being put into it to make it a positive event. Anything else for Mr. Jones? Go to Mr. Leishman.
Chief Mayor, council citizens. I talked with Todd Green, West Virginia Paving. Were awarded the paving contract for the city. He's going to try and start in about 3 weeks. I don't have the list with me right now, but it'll be like Walnut Street. There's a couple up that way. There's usually some in every ward. With this REAP grant that we got, they've already approved our next. They had to check some stuff from my last year, but they've already approved it. If everything else checks out, and we're going to be demolishing 215 West Virginia Avenue. Anybody lives in 3rd Ward, that house will be gone. And then we're doing 125 Marks, 4th Ward. And then on the property board, on the 25th of this month at 2 o'clock, we'll be holding a property board meeting. which will have, some of the problem properties we've been working with that we're not getting adequate response from. And we will be here at 2 o'clock. Open to the public.
When is that, 2 o'clock, when?
25th. And your guy will be on. I'll take any questions.
Well, my question was gonna be about, and I'm gonna raise it every meeting, about the nuisance property ordinance. Is that a part of what will be discussed?
It is, well, the ordinances won't be discussed. That's not for me to discuss. That's for, if you have a problem with the ordinance, you need to discuss it with the mayor and the ordinance committee. But that is a topic that will be involved with that ordinance. It is a nuisance property. It's condemned. We're not getting any resolution out of anything we told him to do. So we're having to mow his grass and things like that. And we're going to notify him that the building will be discussed. He's invited to attend, but he's not required. And if he doesn't attend, that will not change the outcome of our discussion unless he has some input that can sway us to a different conclusion. But they don't have to be present, but they do have to be invited.
Okay.
Okay?
I didn't know that there was a committee of city council that deals
For the ordinances?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything has a committee. Ours, ordinances, there's 7 or 8 different committees. Anybody got any questions?
I do. There is property on the straight stretch, I think it's 53 Dunbar Avenue.
53?
50, sorry. It's Thompson Instrument.
Yeah.
I live this side of there and I own a lot of property in that street. My main concern is it's like, I keep the grass cut, but there's the vines and stuff are growing over the door. And it was brought to my attention, there's been electric on to that place for years and years and years. So I didn't know that, but it looks like a fire hazard. And the people haven't broken into it yet, but it looks awful on the outside. I know that he's trying to sell it, but like you can literally stand on the outside of it and see in the inside of it.
I'll check it out tomorrow.
Thank you.
Is 5,000 the maximum on that grant that we can match? Is there any other?
5,000 is max.
Max?
Yeah.
Is any of that set aside for anything other than demolition funds? Is that written into our part of it or theirs?
Their part is for demolition. When I apply for the grant, it's, as the mayor explained, it's called a liver control grant. They also have, they call it raising property rather than demolishing. So that is what I apply for when I do our application. And so all of that $5,000 covers things like asbestos inspections and lead paint inspections and removal and the actual demolition of the property. Now, we never get one done for $5,000. So they give us $5,000 to throw in with our money. So I think the last 2 we did totaled about 13.5 or 14,000 when all is said and done with our part and their part. So, but we're getting rid of an eyesore. And
Is there any other grant money available that we could use for litter control?
I wish there was. I have 3 houses on the county list, 4 houses on the county list, but they're hitting us in the end. One's 122 Gross Cut. You live in that area, so.
Yeah, they actually own the house inside that house.
Okay. They've already peeled all the asbestos off the outside of it, and they're just waiting on Loftus to get over there with the excavator and knock it down.
They'll be sitting on it.
They don't tell me until they're on it. They call me that
But
day,
I
so I had
think
to
it's
run
coming down in all
Last time they didn't bother calling.
Oh,
I had to actually have
At
to
least
run
it's
into
coming
Loftus.
down.
To go back to Sharon's comment, you and I have talked about reinitiating the adopter block. Okay, if you get that put together and you have people that want to do the adopter block and be active in that program, we can take it to the street committee or finance committee or whoever and see if, I mean, we're talking about a couple of grabbers and furnishing bags and gloves.
If we get one for every block, it'd be more than a couple.
Oh, I know, I'm just saying that I think that, you know, those are things that we could probably, if you get the community involved, I think if we could probably
Reed
twist the arm of
used to provide
council.
those bags. Reed would provide those bags for us.
I can talk to the guy up there and ask him if they'll do that, but they won't do it as part of, we've already used our grant for this year for the demolition. They
Well,
might-
that's fine for that grant, but if there's any other programs or anything else we could get to use for cleanups in town,
But I'm just saying,
we'll form that.
I think,
We'll get that together.
just get the adopt a block thing going and come and talk to us and we'll try to figure out a way to give you the support you need.
Yeah, if we had an organized group, that I could call up Travis and say, hey, we've got 15 people that can go pick up trash around town, can we get some bags or whatever? We're probably gonna be way more apt to get it than if I call up there and say, hey, we'd like 1,000 trash bags.
Anybody want to meet with me after the meeting, I'm taking names and numbers. I'll guarantee there's 15 in here that do it.
Anybody else? Once,
I sent a text to Greg, I don't know whether you got a chance. We've been told the Sneed's house, they've got it fixed so they can get in the back way. I don't know.
back door,
Back door.
I just checked that Friday.
Huh?
I went over and pulled on everything Friday.
Go, did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
so there is a crawl space, so who knows if they might popped up for there, so I'll go back tomorrow and take a look.
That would take too much of a problem.
Anybody else?
Would you please check the garage at 402 19th Street, please? That's not a, yes, 406, 6, I'm sorry, the big brick house. And it's not a garage, I'm sorry, it's just.
It's locked up. It's locked up, padlock and chain now.
You did it. Well, when did you do this?
Christie,
Yeah, yeah.
I saw it very nice out there every other day.
We got a little discussion on that.
Okay, thank you.
I had a discussion with her.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Turn back on 22nd Street, Hill, 503. I think all of where they're gonna be living in the garage. I think the electrical water is off. There's no lights or anything.
That's 507.
It's 500. I know it's right here.
Yeah, if you see people living in garages or outbuildings, or you see people going in and out of the house, but you never see any lights on, please call me. Speak up.
205 and a half.
When everybody speaks, you need to speak up so that we can get your name and so forth for the record. There is someone trying to transcribe the minutes of the meeting. If we don't have that information, it's hard to discern who said what and asked what.
No utilities. No board of it.
Sorry, Ken, they know about the feds not out.
Again, everybody needs to speak up so everybody can hear what's going on, instead of having side comments.
So we do have people living in that one. Well, the feds, I'm gonna call them US Marshal. Anybody else?
I got a quick question. About 2.5 years ago, we started cleaning up satellite dishes out in the front yard. We still have several of them out there, some of them are drinking. How can we get this?
Some of the people have letters that say that's the only place they can receive the signal.
I was told that the cable company would not, or satellite company would not issue letters.
Some of them do, some of them don't.
This does. I mean, I talked with one guy, I'll be very honest. He told me where I could go to where the city could go and satellite.
Well, that's, yeah, I mean,
It's right there in the front door.
right, because the FCC rule
several years ago, but we can't stop them from placing a dish in their front yard if that's the only place they can get signal, because then it would be denying them the common.
I would like to challenge you, because what I've seen, there's satellite dishes all around, houses all around. And they're all operated.
If they get a letter, we don't have any way to check it. We don't have the equipment to do it. And they're supposed to check before they install it and see if they can either put a head on the roof, and they will not attach to a metal roof. And if they can get it in the backyard, they can. Now, the FCC regulations, we cannot tell them. And their argument is, if we had the authority to say you can't do that, then we would be forcing them to take cable, opposed to satellite.
No, I'm not saying that, no, I mean,
That's the way they look at it.
what I'm looking at, the ones that I've got here on paper, there's satellites all around. And they're not in front of me, you know, so I just can't understand how one house can have supposedly a letter, and the house next door has his on the side of that. Yeah, that's great.
On 3,000 problems. We received a bunch of letters, we just got in courthouse. We wanted to send them.
And Jackie's list, if you got the letter, furnish him with a copy of the letter. He knows what's going on. Yeah, like she's talking back and forth. Okay. Public comments. Yes, ma'am.
Kristen Wilkins, we're here. I called a rally today, Mayor, for the council to discuss our vacancy. But first I want to thank everybody for the job they are doing. And we did get a house boarded up and they got 90 days in our neighborhood where we had an animal house going. Vagrants hadn't got there, so it's just animals. So we do have that taken care of. What I would like to do is find out what the citizens legally we can do to help you all help get our city back. We would like to have a situation where we don't have this many vagrants. We had 3 people jump out of Joanne Fabric's window last night and attack a lady at Kroger's getting grass. I think we had 2 ODs yesterday, maybe? I can't remember. I know one was behind Myers Apartments, and I can't remember where the other one. We had, and I hope you're doing fine, Greg, we had Greg Wolf get stuck with him. My tenant on 15th Street takes her girl to the fish park when the druggies are not there injecting or having sex. I don't know if any of my tenants are here, because I did ask some to come, the ones that live on 15th Street, to see this day in and day out, and I have 3 tenants there, with one with kids. And then we got the problem on West Virginia Avenue where there's human feces people are finding and needles, and the vagrants seem to like the riverbank a lot, so the riverfront properties are getting misused. What, as a private citizen that we own property, at what point in time can I pull out my gun?
You can talk to the chief of police, and unfortunately, Mr. Swisher is not here.
First thing, when people do is call when that's going on. Our night shift has lawsuits. I don't recall seeing any of those calls or those locations on any night shift. I'm out to the daytime, I'm at weekend.
I agree. They should.
So, that's like the video that was posted from like 12:09. No sense posting. I mean, you all get to see it, but we don't.
Yeah.
I don't have an officer sitting there watching my
I agree.
It's not doing any good. If you want to help yourself, call 911. Come to neighborhood watch meeting.
Okay. So at one point in time, when my property is getting ready to get damaged, can I come out of the house with my gun and say, get the hell off my property? At what point in time am I allowed to do that?
If I could speak for on state code on that, as far as your own firearms, the state of West Virginia is only castle doctrine, not stand your ground. Which
I
means,
didn't talk any English.
okay, but that is what we have to start with, is that what that
They want
means.
you to retreat as far as you can. And they call.
And
I
that's
cannot come out of my house with a gun.
not in a threatening form. You can have concealed carry, under
So I can
constitutional
have it
carry,
like here,
but it has to be by
and I can go
the,
like this to let them see that, that's not brandishing, right?
that's brandishing.
That's up to the person, whether they feel they were here for the safety.
Yeah.
But that's West Virginia issue, not a city, because the West Virginia legislature.
I don't know, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah, the first thing someone's gonna look at is whether you retreated or whether you called 911 to get help coming.
So if I'm retreating and calling 911, that's fine, but if I'm calling 911 and trying to protect my mother or my property, then I have to stand there and wait.
The property, if you're inside your door, they come through your front door to protect anything and everything in there.
Stop and hold.
And that's the
But
case.
not, but if they're outside and they're trying through your flower bed, you can't come outside. You will lose that battle report.
What if they got my dog by the neck?
Yeah.
Hey, who said that? Who said that?
I did.
Please don't
Ma'am.
put me down like that.
Come on, it's.
I'm asking a question, I'm legitimately
Ma'am.
wanting to know.
Okay, come on, let's just.
I'm serious.
Well, let's have a civil conversation. I understand, but keep the peanut gallery comments to nothing.
Thank you.
What we usually go off of, what's reasonable and prudent? I mean,
I just want to make
Well, I
it clear.
understand that.
I'm just trying to make it clear. I was married to a police officer that a long time
well, you
ago.
married a personality type person, I'm sorry to say, you have to shoot or whatever.
I know,
But even what we say, we'd like to see, we're not gonna do it. But if you go off guideline, what's reasonable and prudent?
Okay. I mean, I truly wanted to know that because of the vagrancy here, I want to make sure I'm protected. That's all, and I want to make sure I follow the law. That's all. So I cannot come out of my gun bracket, my house brandishing my gun to scare them.
No.
Okay. Okay, now what can our citizens do legally to keep these people off their property without calling 911? Not having, I'm saying, that, you know, it's time consuming for you to get there. What can we do to try to get them gone before you get there?
But if you call 911 and there's an incident and there's a record of it, and we can arrest them. Whereas, don't shake your head, because we are arresting them and we are putting them in jail.
Okay, good.
Okay, so, you know, the reality of it is, if you don't make the call,
Okay.
we can't do it.
Okay.
So don't put yourself in jeopardy
I agree.
by trying to enforce the law.
Okay.
Because you've got something to lose, they don't have anything to lose.
So the people
So
are
the people
getting.
that call 911, the response time is shorter than the people that don't call 911 at all.
You're
And I'll say
absolutely right.
3 minutes compared to something happened 2 weeks ago and hear about it at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody in here's got a cell phone with a camera on it. You see somebody in your yard, get them with the mic, take a picture of them. That way you've got facial recognition, you have clothing description, you've got the location where they were at in your yard. And if enough people start doing that and seeing that you're watching for them, then they're gonna leave you all alone. This is a national problem. It's not just.
I agree.
I'm not sure I
We have a very low incident of homeless issues comparatively. Go to St. Albans, they're a little bit bigger than us.
Okay,
and twice the problem.
There's, this lady back here has had her hand up for 15 minutes.
So the incident last night involved my mother at Kroger's and met Burrell's mother at the Kroger's gas station. And a vagrant jumped the retaining wall at Joanne's where I see him every night when I'm at Kroger.
Every
day. So they took off in a car. The man took off after them, running after them. My mother is 73 years old. They were going to get gas. They go in a pack because they're afraid to go out at night by themselves. And I said, why didn't you call me? Because she doesn't want to bother. but I can't be there all the time for her. And they did find an officer who was very nice to them and went and looked for the vagrant. They talked to him, but he was let go. I don't know the details because I wasn't there. I'm telling you what happened with my mother. My mother was, sorry. I want my mother to feel safe in her own town. And I want her to be able to go get gas because at 73, she still works a full-time job. I want her to be able to go get gas and not have to worry about running out of gas because she's afraid to go out at night. And I'm not saying anybody's not doing their job. I understand that it's a big problem. I think what all of us want to know is what we can do. I mean, I don't think any of us here want to work against anybody. But again, what you said, I was at a neighborhood watch where we were talking about taking pictures, and I believe Bill, or I'm not sure who it was, told us not to take the pictures on Facebook.
Putting pictures on Facebook does no good for us. I don't get on Facebook at all. I don't have time to.
No, I was thinking on what you just said, taking pictures. Well, if I take a picture, it's just on my phone, it really doesn't really good.
If you should text it to the police, show it to the police. That's what you need to show. Put it on Facebook, that'll do us a bit of good.
So how do we get it to you?
You call them.
Call, come to your house, come to the police department.
Oh, so we can text it to the police and make it?
Yeah.
So speaking on going back to what I was saying, that you said we need to have a log of it. Well, there is a log of it. I mean, it was an officer that took the report. So, but he's still there because I drove by before the meeting and he's still there in the same place. And I'm not going to take
If
it
it's a
for
misdemeanor
myself.
not committed in the officer's presence, he could not have done anything about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Yeah.
get a warrant.
If it's a misdemeanor, and the officer didn't witness it, we can't just go arrest him. We have to get a warrant. So if you tell me, that is the law.
What do we do to keep them from being in our town to stop all of this mess? It's a huge mess, and it's gotten worse, and it's gonna continue to get worse unless we stand up as citizens and our council members and our mayor back us up and do things and go to the state forest and go head to head and fight the bull, or we're gonna be overran. I don't really wanna lose my city and my home, and I don't like my children seeing these things. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Being able to shoot up, lay around all doped up, be on public property, and it's okay. It's not
It's
okay.
not okay, mate. I've said it in neighborhood watch meetings, I've said it here. Go to Martin.
But I've been in neighborhood watch meetings, and they don't do
Listen.
anything but talk about activities and what they're gonna do the next month.
And
They
also,
don't talk about anything that's actually sustainable, that's gonna do anything different to help our city.
You haven't been to,
It's
you
a
haven't
waste
been
of
to
time.
the latest. You haven't been there.
I went a month ago, and it was a big waste of time.
I'm sorry, I just have one more point that I'm done. Every morning I cross the bridge going to work. Every morning I'm crossing the bridge at 6:30, and there's a troop every morning of 10 to 15 walking from South Charleston.
Because they're shooting them out, honey. They're getting them out of their town.
Across the bridge. Why, why
I
is
assure you that
that?
it's not true.
I talked to Mayor Mullins just a few months ago. They get them out of their city. They don't care where they go. They get them out of South Charleston.
That's what I'm at.
Well, him and his-
I see it every morning, that's all I was asking.
They enforce the law and the mayor backs them up. That's how it happens.
The situation involving her mother, could she not have sworn out a warrant for assault?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am?
She would have filed a formal complaint. It would have been investigated. So.
She did.
Okay, wait, okay.
Wait a minute, did
Lady
she
has
not-
her hand up back here.
I'll wait since we've done. I'll wait
Well,
till she's done, I'm just saying.
when she filed the police report, she talked to the officer, is that not what she did? Because
Sworn out a warrant.
There's different. Did she give a verbal statement, recorded statement,
all three of them did, yes.
verbal recorded statement? If me and you just talk alongside the road, that's not necessarily filing a report, it's filing a complaint. A lot of times people don't want to actually get involved in the court process.
No, my mom is willing to do, they're all three of them are.
I will.
They thought that they were doing what they were
They may
supposed
have,
to.
there may be a report there, I'm not familiar with.
Okay.
If you want to speak with her tonight, I've known you for years, come see me tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll sit down.
Mom, yeah, mom would be glad, she thought she was doing what she was supposed to do.
Okay, let's get this lady.
So, I own a lot of property in Dunbar, our family owns a property, and so I recently renovated a house on 16th Street. And so I started back in probably March or whatever, and I don't really go down there and hang out because my tenant has always been rented or whatever. So when I first got there back in March, there was a high police presence. I'm not really sure what's going on now. It's like, because it used to be one would pass and one would come down. And it's like, they're MIA. I understand that you guys are busy or whatever, but 16th Street is horrible. Like, it's as bad as Kroger's and Ole's and all that. It's horrible. And there is a lot of stealing in that street. Like, I can sit outside and watch them run up to these storage buildings, go and steal something else and run back and forth. And there's a guy that rides around on a bicycle with power full of power, stuff out of a bicycle. And it goes over the traffic and stuff. And I know that you guys are doing everything you can, but it's like, what can we do as citizens to work with you guys to make a plan to make this better? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So, like, I know the calling, which I do call. I had a house up on the straight stretch of Dunbar Avenue. I had a homeless guy come in the gate and go to sleep on the porch. I called the police came. They handed him a citation and he walked off. I don't know if that was his first time, I don't know. But the cop asked him why he was here, why he come in, and he said, well, because I seen a for rent sign. And that, and the cop said some other things to him, but this is where we're coming from, is they think, well, if I see a for rent sign or a boarded house, I could just go in. It's my property now, or I could do what I want to, or I could trash this place up, or I could do this. And I think that's where we're coming from, is like, I've lived here my entire life, 36 years. I've never seen nothing like it. It's horrible. And I know that you guys can only do so much, but is there anything in the works that are trying to make this city better, or a plan going forward to push these guys out to where they can't come back?
If you've been to the last several.
And I haven't been, and that's why I'm here
Well,
today.
I mean, you can go online and watch all of our council meetings on live stream. We are taking a more active approach to going out and boarding up the vacant structure.
And I've seen that.
We have 120 vacant buildings in the city right now.
Oh, yeah.
That are prime opportunity for these people to move into and take up temporary residence. The police, you, Greg, spend a lot of time going through and checking these, even though they're boarded up. They'll go pull the barriers down and take up residency. So, I mean, it is a daunting task.
And it's a process when they
to try to keep them rooted out of the nest. And, and we're going to keep actively doing that, boarding up more of them, checking more of them. The more of them we get boarded up, I mean, we can see signs that they're entering, and then roust them out and move them on. And there's, what is the statute on trespass?
Trespass is not a jailable offense.
Right.
But if you do a third offense, is
But
there,
I mean, yeah, how many, that's what I want to know, like, how many times can you keep doing it? You just keep doing it?
Trespass is not a jailable.
I think the thing that we're finding out in the court system,
How many times they do it?
what we're finding in the court system is, a lot of these people have more issues than just trespassing and shoplifting.
Right.
There's other things, and as the council will attest, we've been more aggressive about sending them to South Central, and that costs the city $50+ a night to do it. But I mean, that's the only way that we're going to do it, is to, when they get caught shoplifting or anything that is a jailable offense, putting him in jail, not for 24 hours, not for 2 days. They can handle being in jail for 2 or 3
Well,
days.
yeah, that's
It's-
a place to lay down and.
It's a struggle with their habits to be there for 15 days, but you have to understand that's $750 out of the
Let
city.
me ask you, can we start a fund? Can the city, the residents of Dunbar, start a fund of some sort to help the city with that cost?
But you all are doing that when you pay your municipal fees right now.
I think we can start a different fund to help
Well,
the city with those
I don't
costs.
think the court system would, I'm not a lawyer by any stretch of imagination, but if we started put them in jail fund to
I
fund
didn't
putting
say
them
we
in
could
jail,
call that.
I think
It's gonna be a clean up the city
the
fund.
ACLU would probably have a heyday with that one. So, I think we need to leave it to, let us try to find a mechanism to fund
The
it.
city takes contributions.
I'm just saying, I think it's a slippery slope that has got us where we are right now. Everybody is overreacting to
Overreacting?
Now, wait a minute, you're not even letting me finish what I'm gonna say. A lot of the legal people are overreacting to these people's rights and ignoring the citizens' rights.
Yes, they are.
So you didn't let me finish what I was saying. So, as soon as you start becoming too aggressive toward these people, and they
We're the
do,
bad people.
and they have rights, as I said before. You said, when you talk about pulling your gun out, you've got something to lose. They don't. They can go to jail for 30 days, 45 days, and they haven't missed a paycheck. They haven't missed their family. So, yes, sir.
Two things, and Bill, I respect you. I know you're from Dunbar. You're where you're at because you love the city. But you said something about y'all can't be where these people are at all the time. I don't live here right now, but I'm trying to locate a business here. I've got rental property here. I have an interest in it. The bad part is, though, I can walk out there right now. We could all get in the line, go right down the road, and I can show you where they're at. Everybody in here knows that.
We know where they're at.
So I know, but you just made a comment a minute ago that you can't be there, you can't see them all the time. It's not a hard
First time I
time.
want to go public information, 2 officers working this year. Both of them had them arrested at the same time. That's 2 officers that were off the road for 3 hours. So for 3 hours, bank robberies can happen or anything.
Well, y'all get coverage
Sometimes-
from South Charleston when that happens, correct?
I'm sorry?
Y'all get coverage from cities, neighboring cities when that
Yeah, I
happens.
mean.
But you're off, so that's not really a valid argument.
And
Because
start taking calls.
the other thing is too, when y'all talk about taking pictures, that doesn't do nothing. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna call up my brother-in-law right here. He got arrested the other day because he was defending his own property. He was in his house. The guy that stole from him, and you all arrested him, came knocking on his door when he wasn't supposed to be there, when my sister was there. And when he knocked on the door, this is a guy that they're getting ready to go to court to press charges on because he's been caught, and he's been caught numerous times in the city. He's been caught numerous times in the city,
Right in front of him.
and he comes knocking on their door when he's not supposed to be there, and my sister's there alone. And he pulled the gun and said, "Get off my porch." And now he's facing charges that this city, and Mayor, you just brought up saying that the cities, or the people are defending the criminals more than they are. Are you going to stand by and watch the city persecute a citizen in his own home trying to protect his own home? That's the problem I have with it. And you can say whatever you want. Yeah, he was mad. I would be too. My mother's house got firebombed, and nothing's ever been done with it. Somebody threw a gas can on her front porch, and it's never been solved. It's getting out of hand. Okay, and what I'm trying to tell you is,
There's a lot of
let me finish.
investigative hours into the arsenal.
Let me finish.
Don't ask.
When this happens like this, and then you're going to tell us, well, we can't be everywhere and we don't know where they're at. That's bunk, because I know where they're at, and I don't even live in the
We
city.
didn't know where they're at. I'm just.
You just made a comment that.
My example was 2 officers working today. They both had an arrest, unrelated things. By the time you process and take them to Charleston or jail, you didn't have anyone on the streets for 3
No,
hours.
that's not true, though. I know how it works. She has an agreement with the city of South Charleston that they cover your shit.
He retired. They don't come over and just take random calls.
So it's only in case of emergency.
They will always
Well, they move up. I don't think so.
But wait a minute, wait a minute.
But
you just said.
They do not move up. That is.
But that's not what I'm saying. You just said, wait a minute. You just said that if there's a fire or something, you don't have anybody covered, or if there's a crime that happens. You do. You call 911, and then they do come over. It's an emergency.
County or the
If there's
state.
an
But I
emergency.
think it's more like we want the presence, like when, if you guys are having downtime or whatever, like they're on
Okay,
call.
let's wait until you're recognized before you speak. There's someone behind you that's had their hand up for quite a while now. Judy?
Yeah, hi, Bill. Bill, we were talking about pictures earlier. I wasn't gonna say anything at all this evening because I didn't want to have the people get the wrong impression. But Bill Moss, I was at the corner right there at the vet's office the other day. You pulled somebody over in a car for whatever reason, I don't know. Right there in the alley between 16th and 17th off of Dunbar Avenue, a guy had his whole paraphernalia of stuff he'd stolen. While you had that person pulled over, and I've got pictures of it, okay? He came right behind your cruiser and crossed the tracks. I look up on the tracks and here comes another one on his bike with his paraphernalia. And in the little, I guess, bus stop or covering there, here's a girl shooting up.
Yeah.
3 people all around you.
I'm on track.
And I knew you were on a traffic stop, but the point
That
is,
is my problem. I seen the guy come out there.
did you see him come out?
And I know who he is.
Yeah.
But likewise, if you see someone shooting up over there, why didn't you come and get me and say this? Say there's someone shooting up.
What would have been done?
I would have played everything.
Well, next time I see somebody shooting up, I will absolutely come and get you.
Actually, possession of a needle is a jailable offense. So.
Yeah, she was sitting right there.
But you didn't call anybody, Judy. You didn't tell anybody.
Okay, we'll go back to
If you
you.
saw a traffic
Okay,
stop,
we'll go back
you
to
have
you.
watch the traffic.
I've sent you pictures of poor Karen's triggers behind in that garage.
Yeah, they said they didn't know about it.
Yeah, I've sent you pictures.
Ma'am, let her speak and then you'll have your chance.
I've sent you pictures.
Right.
It's still going on. It happened at 11:30
The
last week.
only authority I have in that garage is to make sure they're not living in it. If they have 400 people come through there every day and walk in the front and out the back, there's nothing any of us can do
And
about it.
now they're stealing her cameras out there so she can't get any recordings. So this is why.
There should be a recording.
We love our town. I've lived here for 71, what's that, 48 years. I have never in those 48 years seen what's going on in this town. I think highly of everybody in the council, police officers, fire, everyone. But it is pretty bad that I, as a 72-year-old woman, have to worry about someone setting my house on fire or someone, I've got no trespassing signs. Bill tells us that no longer means anything.
That stuff's not
It
up to us. That's my debate on the
Okay,
legislature.
huge. Okay.
And I have lights, motion detector lights, I have cameras all over. But I don't think that I should feel threatened in my own home. And I don't feel that if someone's coming to my property at 2 a.m. in the morning, that I have to say, oh, okay, let me call the police before they get in my house and kill me. I've never had that worry. And I think it's terrible that we do have it. And we have numerous senior citizens in this town. All we want is something that we can help you do to take some action against these people.
Lock your stuff up and call 911. That is the best thing you can do.
That's not a remedy, though, I'm sorry. I mean, with all due respect, with all due respect.
I got a shop over there on 10th Street. You said, having a needle to deal with fence. What do? I see these guys out there all the time. They come around the corner, they stick themselves, they stand there a minute. Till they can walk again, and then they lay it off.
Well, there again, if you call 911, take a picture, the police will come, look at the picture, and then if they catch the person with the needle, then that is a jailable offense. Now that the needle exchange is gone, they're not dropping as much as they used to. So,
I've seen them down and up, oh, we're gonna go look at something.
yes.
So the same laws apply to the problem, the vagrants we have now apply to us, correct? I mean, is that what I can assume, that if they can't be stopped for trespassing, I can't either?
The same constitutional rights that protect them.
So no, if I go camp out with them and start following everywhere they go, they can't do anything to me as long as I don't touch them or harm them?
Theoretically.
But we'll fix this problem in the city.
But I understand if they file a complaint, we won't investigate.
But we can't file complaints. When we do, then we get, you know,
File a
they're,
complaint against the crime.
so if I'm not doing anything, I'm not harming them, I'm just camping out with them, hanging out with them, asking them questions all night long, playing my gospel music. They can't do nothing to me, right? You can't arrest me, right? I mean, if we gotta do that, that's what we'll start doing. We'll just start following them around, start going in their neighborhoods since they're coming in ours.
Yes, back here.
Yes, as what you just heard, like my brother said, what happened to my husband, and he's not gonna speak, I'm gonna speak, because I'm pissed as hell about it, okay? And the reason I'm pissed is the fact that you all subpoenaed him to take a stand for the city and testify, but you didn't back him up. That's why I'm pissed. Now it's turned on him, that's bullshit. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you. Have something to say over here.
I just was gonna say that I've been coming since April and I just keep hearing the same thing. Human rights activists will be on us. We can't do anything. We can only arrest them for this. We can only do this. We can only. I don't really believe that. In my heart, I don't feel that to be true. I feel that there are things and steps that we can take, like I said back months ago. I don't care what it takes to get the state on board, but we've got to do something because it's absolutely absurd. If you need our help, tell us. That's what we're telling you. Other than saying the common answer of calling 911, okay? I get it. I've called 911. I have called 911. Thankfully, thank you, Jesus, I don't live in downtown Dunbar, but I still am a resident of Dunbar. And thankfully, I don't have to deal with that, but I'm sure it's coming my way because it's just a matter of time. They've already ran the entire downtown city of Dunbar. Joe, you can't go to Kroger's, you can't go to Joann's, I can't take my daughter to dance lessons in Phil State. I swear my hand on the Bible, I take my daughter into dance lessons there at Center Stage Dance, and I am constantly, vigilantly looking around and making sure that a homeless vagrant or a drug addict is not coming up behind me or my daughter or another citizen whom I would like to protect also and make sure that they don't affect. You know, that in a town like this, that should not be. It just should not be. And if that doesn't infuriate you, then you need to go find and go experience it and figure out what it needs to take to infuriate you, that should not be. It's absolutely absurd. And like I said, I've been coming since April, and I hear the same thing, and you all giggle, and we don't call 911. Well, with only 2 police officers, how are you going to answer 555 calls that are going to come through every day? Please start calling, everyone. Please start calling. If you see something suspicious, if you see something absolute, if you see something that is just questionable, please call 911. Jesus. With everything in me, please call 911. And you guys said you didn't say you didn't know about pain. I know for a fact that Ms. Karen Swigger sat in here. I was here present at a meeting. Ms. Karen Swigger sat in that back row and pleaded her bleeding heart to you all about pain. So you do know about pain. You might not know about the most recent events on pain, but you do know about pain. And her camera got stolen. She reported it to the police. So you do know about pain. If you don't know about the vagrants, my Lord, take a drive down to Kroger's or Joanne Fabric or walk across the street to 12th Street. I mean, I don't know how much more your citizens can sit here and beg and plead and cry and ask of you to please help us change Dunbar before you understand that we're asking you, how can we change Dunbar? It blows my mind.
Can I ask you a question, ma'am? Ma'am, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
And anybody else here
But
also?
please do not say 911 or the human rights or anything like that. Please do not say that, because if that's what you're going to say, I would rather not hear it.
Are you done so I can ask you a question for all of us properly?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. If we've listened and thought about this tonight in the last several meetings, every question and every response back shows us that this is out of anything we can legally do as a city. We have to take it to the next level.
That's what I'm talking about.
So the question I ask you and anyone else, you mentioned you've been to all these meetings. Have you talked to your state representative yet?
That's what I'm asking you, is what we need to do. We can do that. Let us know what to do.
We've reiterated over and over every meeting. These are things, higher than us that we have no ability to change as a city, but you as individual citizens can call your 35th district representatives. Have any of you called your 35th district representative? Have you called your senators? Because we have to go to state.
But we elected you all to represent the citizens of Dunbar, so maybe a lot of us assume that that's what you are doing as our representatives of our selected wards in the city of Dunbar. I'm not sure if that's how government works, but I thought that's how it works. But if we need to go one by one, by God, we'll line up and go one by
That's the
one.
way it has to be. You
Okay,
saw what happened with the
thank you for the
teachers. The only way they got responses when they went, not when we called them or anything. It's when they went and talked, because that's how it works.
Can I say something? All the people on this council, all these gentlemen right here, anybody that I've run onto, I've ran onto one that I wasn't really happy with, but all you all are trying to do the best job you can. I feel sorry for him because he and I have done some business. And it's so hard to be able to do all these things that everybody wants. At the same time, if you own property here, and you've got 134 places or however many blocked up now, that's not very good for a person who's got to invest. I don't have anything invested here. But I don't have anything invested at this point. And yeah, well, yes, I do, because we've done a lot of work on our house, and I've helped with that. But where's this world going? Now, we're talking about Dunbar tonight, but this world is going to a handbasket. I mean, it really is. You can't get anything done. I get 10, 12, 14 calls a day wanting to help me with my car, help me with this, help me with that. If I need something, I'm going to get something taken care of. And having worked with the telephone company, having had to go to the Public Service Commission on issues, and all of you all, I think, are trying to do the best job you can, but I can understand people that own property and live in some of the areas that's not quite as nice as some of the other areas. What they're asking is, what the heck can we do? What can we do to make it better? And I met Buck, one of the first ones. He's been great to me. He's been nice to me. Look what he's doing for all these activities. We're going to have an or two. This man right here, I love him. I love this man. Now, I don't know these other guys as well. And this fireman right here, see my badge? I have a badge on me. I was a fireman down in North Carolina. And I told him tonight, I think he's doing a fantastic job.
There's a lady back here that's got her hand up.
But, you know, think about what we're trying to do. We're trying to get some advice on how we can do better.
So, a question. So in the city of Charleston before, maybe, they were doing, like, I don't know how, I guess it was like they were offering them a way out of here. I think it was 8 people. I'm not really sure how that came in, but it was a city thing, and it wasn't like
It's there again, that's more complicated than it seems. In order to get them to relocate, we've got to find somebody at the other end who will accept them and sponsor them before the city can furnish them with a ticket or transportation to go to that location.
So how do we go about getting like rules put in your own camp? Like, I guess you go through the.
I'm sorry?
Like if y'all wanted to change a law here, just in this town, how do you go about doing it?
Well, two things have to happen. It has to go to the ordinance committee and get approved and referred to your finance and council after that. But then one of the key components is that we cannot institute a policy or procedure that is in violation of federal or state code. We can't do anything more restrictive or more stringent than what the state code or federal code says that you can do. So, we can't just go out and say, if you don't have a job, you can't live in Dunbar.
No, that's what I'm saying.
But I'm just giving that as an example, so it takes a lot of research, it takes a lot of effort.
I was wondering how they did it and like if they had had some involved, they were able to do it.
Are you talking about Charleston?
Yeah, Charleston.
No, that was just a policy. But there again, you can't relocate somebody against their will. And the test case that they found was that you had to have someone at the other end of the bus agree that they're going to sponsor them and take care of them when you send them to the receiving end. One that's receiving.
Mayor, could I interrupt you just a minute? We have a representative from the water company here.
Oh, okay.
Waiting to make a presentation.
Well, okay, let's, yes, sir. Come forward.
Well, I'll be quick. I'm Bradley with West Virginia American Water. Obviously, you have a great chief and a great fire department. We recognize the work of the department, and they're going to be purchasing some new equipment. You guys are doing drone updates for some rescue missions, which is awesome. So I'm going to give the check to the mayor.
Bubble stand. Okay, Chris, you want to get short and sweet?
The check we just received was part of a grant request we put in through the water company to purchase a drone. When I say drone, a very expensive drone, something that we can take into hazardous areas without putting firemen at risk. Everything from chemical spills to search and rescues, lost folks in the woods, anything that would endanger firefighters' lives, we can now use a piece of machinery to do. That's our goal. And, there's a lot of technologies out there once you get out of the $100 range of the drones. Once you get into the more expensive stuff, there's things with GPS tracked back and forth to us. We'll be able to work in conjunction with the police department when they have searches and things. Perhaps with a lot of the things that are going on that you all are talking about, when they're trying to find people. This very well may come in handy with the police and what they do. So we're not real sure how, where all we're going to use it. That was our goal, is to try to keep the firefighters out of danger as much as we can with some of these things, with chemicals and things like that. Hazardous atmospheres, if we could fly a drone in there, gather our information, it'll be immediate back on our screen what it's seeing. And that'll help us determine what our zones are and what we can do safely. So it's a whole new experience and a whole new line of approach for us. So we're thankful for West Virginia American Water for giving us that opportunity to move forward.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you'll have people trained in the fire department to use this drone. You'll also train people in the police department how to use this drone. It can be used as a cross effort between both departments.
Yes. We have a couple of our people have already attended one drone seminar.
Right.
And depending on which manufacturer we go with, we get additional training specifically on that. So we don't know where that goes. Wait to see.
The police department will have access to it, be able to use it also. Because I think that
we will assist them. We will,
whatever, but they'll have use of them when they need it. That's my point. So that may alleviate some of our problems, congregation of homeless people.
If they've got guys out here,
It'll help alleviate.
they have police officers actually working in it.
Right.
To me, it makes more sense to have us go in and try to assist them versus complicating and say, well, here's the drone, y'all have that.
Right, but my point is they'll have access to it
Yes.
also. Okay.
Would you like to say something?
Yes, sir. Well, he had his hand up before.
I just had a quick question, Mary. It may be something that you all have already looked at, but on the vagrant issue, is there not the possibility of an ordinance dealing with residency requirements? I mean, you have no permanent location, you don't pay into the tax base of the city or the municipality that you're situated in. There is arguably the compromise of public safety, health, and welfare of the citizens. I don't know exactly what Charleston is doing, but on the issue of residents, and you talked about the bus ticket or the mode of transportation back to, I'm assuming that's based on wherever they come from, where residency has been established.
No, not necessarily. It just could be a family member that's willing to sponsor them to get them back on their feet.
Okay, so residency.
The issue of vagrancy has already been addressed in the circuit court rulings across the United States that says it's not illegal not to have a house. It's not illegal to live on the city street. I mean, that's already been ruled. So there again, that gets back to what I said earlier, that unless the federal law or the state law changes, the city cannot adopt a law which is in violation of state or federal code that's already been ruled on.
So public health, safety does not play into that at all?
No. I mean, that's.
There was an article the other day, 60 Minutes or so, like Los Angeles spends $200,000 a week to clean up human feces. You would think if there was a law that they would have, but they spend over $200,000 a week cleaning up human waste across the city.
Jenny?
Like comical side. I can tell you how to get rid of all this. Re-implement tar and feather. And you don't have a lot.
Yes, ma'am. There's a lady back here. Yes.
Hey, Bill,
Yes, ma'am.
if something gets stolen, I know in the neighborhood watch meetings, you always told us to write down the code on it, or serial number. Say that I get something stolen and I have the serial number and I give it to you. What can you all do? Like, say we get a weed eater stolen and we know the brand, we know everything. You see some of these vagrants on their bikes with the weed eater. Are you allowed to stop to check to see if that's mine?
There's two different ways. One, it's put in NCIC serial number, National Crime Information Center. So if even gets someone stopped on a bike in California, they can write and come back stolen. Everything is leads online. It's an investigative tool that all the pawn shops are supposed to tell us what they've taken in, and that's cross-checked and it would show.
Are you allowed to go in? Somebody on the neighborhood watch thing shows, I think it might be Julie's daughter, that they have that, somebody has a garage and they just keep putting stuff in it. Are you allowed to go in something like that to look for it?
Not without probable cause.
Oh, that's a Karen's, where they're
Somebody-
taking stuff in Karen's in the garage.
They keep taking stuff in, even though, like, say on her camera, somebody's taken in a weed eater or a leaf blower, you're not allowed to go in there. Is that not probable cause to just go in and look for it?
That'd be reasonable suspicion. That'd give us more, we could react more to put extra patrol in there to try to catch people in areas doing something else and then check.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That falls under
Do you really get much response from the pawn shops? Do they really contact you much?
Well, that's a state, they report, they don't report directly to us.
Because again, they lost $4,300 tools.
I have a feeling they know what they're taking in pawn shops and they require our
Yeah.
report and everything, but
What about the resale shops? I know
they're
that,
not mandated.
yeah, but I know somebody that got a bike stolen and they end up finding it at the resale shop.
They're not mandated to report it, but if they would have thought it, maybe they did. They would call 911, we can go to that shop and investigate where they took it from.
And you can take it back, can't you, Bill?
I'm sorry?
If they have the serial number and you find it at that pawn shop, you can take it back.
Yeah, they're.
Because that's happened to me before.
They can take the law center, they can sue the person that's sponsored it. They never do probably.
Right,
And we
but
can get it back.
the police brought my property back to me.
Right.
Right, okay.
We are recovering quite a bit of property through liens online.
When you all file
What is
lawn
that
mowers and
legal
stuff,
line? I'm sorry, Bill, what did you say? What is it?
It's an investigative tool that's available to us.
Oh, okay, it's not something that we.
No, it's law enforcement sensitive.
when you all buy lawn mowers or weed eaters, there's a serial number, a model number, and a make. Take a picture of it. Put it on your thumb
We
drive.
gotta get them back like that once now. It works.
Anything that has a serial number, take a picture, write it down, keep it somewhere in your safe or whatever. The place to store stuff is in your freezer. It doesn't burn from house fire generally. So, but
Sharon,
I just wanted to say that the biggest problem we have is that we as the homeowners, the landowners, property owners, whatever you want to call it, we have no rights. We do not have any rights against these lawyers, the ones out there doing everything to us, and we can't do anything to them.
I mean, I hate to say it over and over again, I've lived with it for 34 years next door to me in my neighborhood. People coming in 24 hours a day, in and out. Scott's been up there and arrested them, I don't know how many times. And yes, I mean, it just sucks the life right out of you.
And we're the ones that work the hardest. We're the ones working the easy.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, just to speak on like serial numbers, just to, yeah, I know all of you all remember, you know, I'm on the board of Little League. You know, we had all of our equipment stolen. We found pieces on Facebook yard sale, but there's no serial numbers on mats. Even though it said DLL, when I reached out to the girl, she immediately, I guess, clicked on my page. No, she deleted her Facebook.
Oh, did she?
Completely.
You don't have to necessarily have a serial number, just something distinguishing mark.
I know, but yeah,
That you, especially helps if you report it at the time. Nothing else, it's a tool for us to knock on our door and ask them where they got it. If we get 2 or 3 people saying the same person, then we'll do the investigation.
yeah, if there's nothing on the serial number, put your driver's license number, right? Okay, just an identifying number, and take a picture of it, and write it down and keep it. Because there's 10,000 weed eaters get stolen a day. And if you don't have a serial number, you're just out of luck. I mean, there's only so much the police can do with the information you give them, unless you give them all of it.
Okay, let's move on. Council comments, Lynn.
Mr. Mayor, for the good of the city, if there's no other city business, I'll move.
No, council comments.
Oh, the council comments. I'm just glad everybody showed up today, that you can voice your comments and stuff. It does help, believe it or not, so.
For what it's worth, we do have a neighborhood watch program. We're going to continue coming. This is what it's about. Everybody getting together, talking, trying to resolve some issues. It'll be the 12th, is always the second Thursday of every month, 6:30 here at City Hall. But they have you come out. It's not council, it's not everything. These are citizens. And we're trying to do something also with this, with the neighborhood watch, and we can do it together. The more people we have, the more ideas we have. Talking about writing serial numbers down. We'll come up with some sheets to give out to people to identify things in your house that you can go through, start writing serial numbers down, taking pictures of them, things like that, just like what they're talking about here tonight. Just some of the easier and helpful ways that we can all work together and do things together when we're doing business citizens. So don't forget the 12th, which is Thursday night, down here at 6:30.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out. Thank you for all the prayers. As everyone knows probably by now, I got stuck today with a dirty needle. It was my stupid mistake that caused it. I won't know anything for probably 30 days, but I appreciate all the prayers. I want to reiterate something Jim said about our neighborhood watch. You need to come out to that. We've got a new president, and she's taking this thing by the reins and running with it, and it's turned 180, it's completely turned around. You need to come out. And one last thing, I want to support our department heads and our firemen and our police department. Our police department is running better than it ever has run before. And the city council people, we are trying to fix this problem. We need help. Just bear with us. We are trying to fix it. It's everywhere, not just Dunbar. Thank you.
I've already said that for me.
Just quick. I appreciate very much everyone that comes out and expresses their opinions and their concerns. We know that you all elected us. We wouldn't be in these seats if you didn't elect us. Sadly enough, I got appointed to seat because before Mr. Credo passed away, but I am more than glad to fulfill his obligation. But we live in this city also. So we deal with the same things that you all deal with. We live under the same circumstances. So it affects us also. A lot of these people come in here and talk, act like it doesn't bother us at all, that we have no concern about what's going on and we're just turning our back to it. We're not, believe me. We're going to learn what we can do. We have to fight it and live with it every day also. So please just be patient. Eventually we're going to work out something to get this resolved. Thank you.
The only thing is, on I Avenue, 1213th Street, you get the lights taken care of. We got poles for this. None of the lights down the street will work. We got fall festival coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll keep right on that.
Yeah, I think once the gas company is finished up, there's the YT will get the wiring to my facilities.
I would just echo what Doug said, and just the same thought always comes to my mind. Somebody can find a city up there that has successfully and legally eradicated their city of homeless. I guarantee you, we adopted it in a heartbeat. It's not out there. It's not legal to do what you want to do. And the second thing, Greg, is your neighborhood watch president here tonight?
Yes, our new neighborhood watch president, Jamie Rizzo.
Hello. Yeah, I think everyone should come. I mean, I'm very enlightened by this and I have so much to say, but I'm going to talk at the meeting. And I think that everyone should come. I think that if people want to make changes that much, I think they should be more involved. And it's not city council. One person can't fix it. And as a city, we can make changes. And you have to come together. You've got to change the way you think about it. You've got to remember what they're saying. I deal with the same issues, but I'm dealing with it with my people. I think everyone should come, and I think you should tell a friend and bring them with you.
I think as a closing to that is, I think the best way that you can start taking back your neighborhood is get to know your neighbors and start watching for one another. And I mean, the old day that you could just walk in your neighbor's house and sit down and have a cup of coffee. Who really knows who their neighbors are nowadays? And it's something that I think will help turn the corner. If, as a community, we can start really becoming more friendly to our neighbors and getting involved in that venue. And with that, everybody's watching everybody else's house, which is basically neighborhood watch in a nutshell. But if you don't know your neighbors, you can't have a neighborhood watch. I mean, you see this. So, but anyway, with that.
Mr. Mayor, for the good of the order, if there's no other business, adjourn this meeting.
You want to adopt a song right up here?